Poor bride rejected for being paralyzed, until a single dad did the unthinkable. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Emma sat in her wheelchair, her white wedding dress perfectly pressed, her hair arranged in soft curls that framed her glowing face. The small church smelled of roses and fresh lilies, the aisle lined with candles flickering like tiny promises of forever. But forever didn't last long. Just 15 minutes before the ceremony, her fiancé, David, stormed into the bride's room. His eyes, once gentle, now carried shame and discomfort. "I can't do this, Emma," he muttered, avoiding her gaze. Emma's heart froze. What do you mean?" He took a shaky breath. "I thought I could handle it, your condition. But I can't. I don't want a wife I have to push around for the rest of my life." The words hit her harder than any accident ever could. Without another glance, he walked out, leaving her there in silence, surrounded by the shattered pieces of her dreams. Hours later, Emma sat alone outside the church, her bouquet wilted in her lap. Guests had already left. The photographer, feeling awkward, had quietly packed up. Even her own relatives avoided eye contact, embarrassed by the scene. She stared at the sky, tears streaking through her makeup. "Maybe love just isn't for people like me," she whispered. That's when she heard a soft voice behind her. "Miss, are you okay?" She turned to see a man holding a little girl by the hand. He was in his early 30s, with kind eyes and a calm presence that immediately softened the air around him. His daughter, a sweet-faced child with messy brown curls, looked at Emma with concern. The man crouched slightly. "I'm sorry if this sounds strange. We were walking by and my daughter wanted to see the bride. But are you all right?" Emma forced a small smile. "I'm fine. Just a little." "Change of plans." The girl frowned. "Did your prince not come?" Emma chuckled weakly. "No, sweetheart. He changed his mind." The man's expression darkened with empathy. "Then he's the one who lost something precious." The little girl ran up to Emma and gently touched her hand. "You look like a princess," she said. Even sitting down. Those words, simple, innocent, and pure, cracked open something deep inside Emma. For the first time that day, she laughed through her tears. The man smiled. "I'm Jack, by the way, and this troublemaker is Lily." "Emma," she replied softly. Jack hesitated, then asked, "Would you let us take you somewhere? There's a small cafe nearby. My daughter insists on celebrating weddings, even the ones that don't go as planned." Emma blinked, surprised. "You don't have to." He shook his head. "Maybe not, but I want to." At the cafe, laughter began to replace sorrow. Lily demanded they all share a slice of chocolate cake, claiming it was wedding tradition. As they talked, Emma learned that Jack was a single father. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier from cancer, leaving him to raise Lily alone. "Life isn't always fair," Jack said, sipping his coffee, "but it gives us second chances in the strangest ways." Emma smiled softly. "I used to believe that too. Before today." Jack leaned forward. "Maybe today isn't an ending, Emma. Maybe it's the start of your second chance." His words lingered, comforting, yet full of something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Over the next few weeks, Jack and Lily became part of Emma's life. They visited her often, sometimes bringing flowers, sometimes bringing chaos and laughter. Lily adored her, calling her Princess Emma, and insisted they have tea parties where everyone had to wear paper crowns. Jack admired Emma's strength, how she still volunteered at the local library, how she never let her wheelchair define her spirit. And Emma saw in Jack the quiet courage of a man who loved selflessly and healed others through simple kindness. Slowly, love found its way back into Emma's heart, not the kind wrapped in grand gestures or perfect bodies, but in shared smiles, honest conversations, and little moments of understanding. One evening, Jack took her to the same church where she'd been left behind. Her breath caught. "Jack, why are we here?" He smiled gently. "Because I wanted to show you that beauty can return to broken places." He knelt, not with a ring, but with Lily holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. "Emma," he said, voice trembling slightly, "you taught me that real strength isn't about walking. It's about standing tall when life knocks you down. You've stood taller than anyone I know. I don't care about your wheelchair. I just want to build a life where you never doubt your worth again." Emma's tears flowed freely, not from pain this time, but from the kind of joy that heals old wounds. She nodded, whispering, "Yes." Lily jumped up and clapped, yelling, "Princess Emma said yes." Months later they married, quietly, beautifully, surrounded by laughter, music, and love that needed no perfection. As they danced, Jack gently holding her as her chair spun in circles, Emma looked around and thought, sometimes, when life takes away what you thought you wanted, it's only making room for what you truly deserve. The soft notes of a piano filled the little garden where the wedding took place. Fairy lights twinkled in the trees, casting a warm, golden glow across the smiling faces. Emma's dress was simple this time, light ivory with lace sleeves and a satin ribbon around her waist. She didn't need anything extravagant. What mattered most was the peace in her heart, the warmth in Jack's eyes, and the sound of Lily's laughter echoing through the air. When Jack leaned down to whisper, "Ready for our dance?" she laughed nervously. "Jack, I can't exactly dance," he grinned. "Then I'll learn your way." He placed his hands gently on the sides of her wheelchair and began to sway in rhythm. Slowly, gracefully, he moved her in small circles, matching the melody of the song. Everyone fell silent. The world seemed to slow down, just the two of them moving as one. Tears glimmered in Emma's eyes. "I never thought I'd have a moment like this again." Jack smiled softly. "You were never meant to lose it, Emma. Just meant to find the right person to share it with." A new beginning. Weeks turned into months, and their life together blossomed in ways Emma never imagined possible. Lily loved their little routines, movie nights, pancake Sundays, bedtime stories. She'd insist Emma be the storyteller because, as she said, princesses tell the best stories. One afternoon, as Emma wheeled herself through the park with Lily, she noticed a young man sitting on a bench, shoulders hunched, face buried in his hands. It was David. For a moment, her heart stuttered. He looked lost, thinner, and burdened by guilt. Their eyes met and he froze, shame washing over his face. "I heard you got married," he said quietly. "I came to say, sorry, Emma. I was weak. I didn't deserve you." Emma smiled gently, not out of pride, but peace. "You're right, David, you didn't, but thank you for walking away. It led me to where I was meant to be." She turned her chair slightly, glancing toward Jack and Lily waiting by the fountain. "Sometimes the worst heartbreaks are really life's way of redirecting us to the right story." David nodded, eyes glassy. "You're glowing, Emma. I hope he knows how lucky he is." She smiled. "He reminds me every day. The unthinkable act." One winter night, a storm hit their town. Heavy snow, power lines down, roads blocked. Emma and Lily were home alone. Jack was stuck across town due to a road closure. As the cold crept in, Emma began to worry. Her electric wheelchair battery was dying, and she couldn't move it manually. Then just as fear set in, there was a knock at the door. Frantic, hard, echoing through the dark. "Emma!" "It's me." It was Jack, soaked to the bone, covered in snow and shivering. He had walked 5 miles through the blizzard just to reach them. "I couldn't get through by car," he panted, kneeling beside her. "But I couldn't let you two be alone." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she hugged him tight. "Jack, you could have frozen out there." He smiled faintly. "I'd rather freeze finding you than stay warm without you." That night, as they sat huddled under blankets with Lily sleeping between them, Emma realized this was love. Not the kind that vanished when things got hard, but the kind that stayed, fought, and showed up no matter what. Full circle. A year later, Emma stood, yes, stood, for the first time in years. With the help of therapy, custom braces, and endless support from Jack, she could now balance on her feet for short moments. Lily clapped excitedly. "You're walking, Mommy." Emma smiled, steadying herself as Jack held her hands. "No, sweetie, we're walking." Tears rolled down Jack's face as he whispered, "You're my miracle, Emma." She laughed softly. "No, Jack, you're mine." Epilogue. Love without limits. Emma later started a small organization called Heart's